laws related to the various laws, we have a Copyright Act and also Civil Rights, Copyright Act, other Defamation Act, Working Journalist Act, Cinematography Act, Press Council Act, all these acts related to the media. And there is a commissions. We have that is for the all citizens, not only for the journalists. That is for all citizens. Okay. So SHRC, state level rights, human rights commission, and the national level human rights commission. So all these we will discuss in this entire course. Now coming to the various blocks, we have blocks and units. Each unit and block focuses on the particular theme. Some about the laws, some about the acts, some about the regulations. So here some principles journalists need to maintain some codes and regulations. Journalist codes of ethics are, though we call it is the guidelines by the regulatory authorities, otherwise by guidelines by our self-media house where we are working. So that gives us some responsibilities, some guidelines based on the Constitution. Media house would be like to be controlled by the government or any organization. If media house goes overboard, then a need may arise for regulations. That is why many media houses, they maintain self-regulations as well as guidelines or some regulations given by the Press Council of India. Press Council of India is focuses on the print medium, whether who controls the electronic media or digital media. There is a separate, there is a no control authorities, but there is another act like Information Technology Act, which controls the digital media. And coming to the electronic media, there is also some one body of the control of the committee of control of the electronic media. So like that, broadcast broadcast editors associations, those are the self-regulations, and other individual media houses also their own guidelines, their own regulations. As per the regulations only, the journalists have to be act. There is a no separate, here is I am emphasizing again, there is a no separate special provisions to the journalist. Whereas in American Constitution, there is an amendment, first amendment there is made, there is a special provisions for the media that the same is not applied in India and many other countries. Okay, students, pursuing media related courses and aspiring to become media professionals must know laws pertaining to media and ethics they have to follow so that they work professionally and would not disturb or harm the society. Because the ignorance of a law is not excuse. Many principles and journalistic codes or ethics or guidelines to uphold and be followed by the journalist. Coming to the first unit, to the Constitution of India. Our Constitution, what are the special features of Indian Constitutions? What are the emergency provisions? What are the fundamental rights? What are the descriptive principles and safety policy? Freedom of speech and expression, that is under the Article 19 of 1. These we will discuss. The Constitution of India is the world's largest written constitution. This is the special feature of Indian constitution. It also describes and sets out fundamental rights, directive principles, and the duties of a citizen of India. It also declares that India will be a sovereign, socialist, secular, and democratic republic. Coming to the focus of salient features of Indian constitutions. Dear students, if you have any doubts, you may message in the chat box. Otherwise, you may raise your hand and ask me if you have any doubts. I will get you back with the clarifications. Written constitution, the largest written constitution. India is the written constitution, and it is the lengthiest constitution in the world. We have amendments subsequently made by the parliament in the constitution. There is a provision, timely modifications, timely amendments can be done by the parliament. There is various amendments we have. Once you just, this is a socialist Indian constitution. Already we have read in our school level sections in the classes, in the 8th class, 9th class, 10th class. So this is once you read, it will be understand. There is we mentioned that the fundamental rights and also fundamental duties in the constitution under the articles of 14 to 32, and there is three categories in the Indian constitution. First category related to the when we have to amendment, we have to be, the first category can be done by the two houses of a parliament, simple majority of the members present and voting of before sending it to the president acceptance. Another category is amendment in the constitution requires a special majority. It can be passed in each house of a parliament. In the parliament, we have a Lok Sabha and a Rajya Sabha. There is a two houses. The majority of the total members of the house, as well as by the 2/3 of a majority of the members present and voting in each house of a parliament and sent to the president for the acceptance. So very recently we have one women reservation bill in the houses, that there is an amendment required. There is a no 2/3 majority, so that is last. And another one category is a third category that focuses on the special majority mentioned in the second category, and also it should be approved by the at least 50% of the state legislatures. Hence, Indian Constitution provides of all three types of amendments, ranging from single to most difficult procedures, depending on the nature of the amendment. We have India is a federal system, federal policy. India is a union of states. India has adapted a federal structure of government. In the federal government, what will be some provisions to the state level also. They have to be part in the amendments or any duties. Coming to the emergency provisions, there is it is mentioned in our constitution, emergency provisions also from Article 352 and 360 of Indian Constitution. The President of India has the power to impose emergency rule in the Indian states and India or all the states, recommended by the In case of other state emergency provision in the state wise, the recommendation by the cabinet cabinet of Indian government. Where coming to the whole statewide, the, again here also cabinet of the Indian ministry, they recommend, they ask they give the recommendations. So as per the recommendations, as per the approval of the cabinet ministers, so the president will impose the emergency. Coming to the fundamental rights, this is a constitution related to the constitution. It is a very basics which we are read in at school level also. That is why I am moving a little. Just here I am touching the main points only, not exclusively discussing on these topics. Coming to the fundamental rights, various fundamental rights we have which are included in the articles, various articles. What are the fundamental rights? Number one is the right to equality, which mentioned in the article 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. Coming to the right to freedom, article 19, 20, 21 and also 22, there is a mention about the right to freedom. Here, right to freedom and expression, that is article 19 of 1A, which is a focus on the freedom of speech and expression. This article is based on this article only journalists will work. This is not only for the journalists, this is applies to the every citizen of India. Here we have to remind as a journalism students or any citizen, there is again some regulations by the article 19 of 2 based on some guidelines. Only we have to express our ideas, express our speech, express our freedom without consider the 19 of 2, we could not speak whatever we like. Coming to the another right, that is right against exploitation, which are mentioned in the article number 23, and again one more right, that is a right to freedom and religious, which articles 25, 26, 27 and 28, those articles they are discussed about the rights. And about the right to cultural and education. So everyone has a right to maintain their educational and cultural to be followed by their based on their religion, based on their area, based on their community. So it is one right. Another right is a right to constitutional remedies. So we have various levels, court levels. So in case of any injustice, we can approach to the courts to get the justice. One more is the right to education. The Right to Education Act guarantees the fundamentals of the children to free and compulsory education under the age group of 14. So that is mentioned in the article 21A. And right to property was originally guaranteed in the fundamentals of right, but later by the Constitution of India to which guarantees to all citizens in country the right to acquire, hold and dispose the property. With the 44th Amendment of the Constitution of India in the year 1978, the right of the property was deleted the list from the fundamental rights. Coming to the directive principles, those are mentioned in the Article 36 to 51. Those are everyone has some principles they have how to be there, how they are be in the as a citizen. It is a common for the everyone. Coming to focus on the freedom of speech and expression and the limitations. This is a main because everyone says that in a general meeting they says that we have a freedom of speech, we have a freedom of expression of our ideas. That is not exclusively to every city, to whatever we want to say. Here is some limitations. Already freedom of expression in the article number 19 of 1 of A, where article, this article is saying that everyone has a freedom to express freedom of speech and expression. But here we have to keep it in our mind, the limitations. What are those limitations? Here, these limitations were mentioned in the Article 19 of 2 of Indian Constitution. What are those limitations? First one is sovereignty and integrity of the country. Our speech, our expression should not be violated, should not be overcome, should not be disturb the integrity of the country. Second one, security of the country. Our speech, our expression should not be threat to the country. So security. Number three is our voice, our speech should not be affect the friendliness of our country. While writing, we could not mention some. We have friendly nations. Even though we could not speak against the friendly nations, we could not speak against the friendly nations, or we could not write or speak or whatever our expressions. One more is public order. That is a law and order. We say our speech should not be violate the law and order. So these are some limitations. Based on the limitations only, we have to be express our ideas, express our speech. Coming to the one more limitation, that is defamation. Here is very much focus. We see very regularly, many examples are there. If any speech that is not up to should be against the articles, against the freedom of expression. So many examples regularly we see in the media that the person who is maybe a political party related to the political party, or any reputed person who suits the Defamation Act against any speech by the person, individuals or organization, whatever it is. This is happens a regular mode. Very many cases are there. So defamation, and there is a contempt of the court also. How we have to be act as a journalist in writing a report related to the judgment. So when we have to look in the contempt of the court, there is a provisions, there is a act related to the contempt of the court. We have to read it very much clearly. Then only we have to be act accordingly. Coming to the another limitation is decency and morality. That is a basics human beings. We have to be maintained decency and morality. There is a right to privacy. We could not be interfere with the celebrities without their acceptance. We don't give much about them without their acceptance. And another limitation is incitement to an offense. Here, when will be this happens when the religious conflicts, then as a media person, you have to be control it. You have to be give our awareness to the peace. So we don't give the text or in a video form or in any other form that should be incitement to an offense. There is a very recently public interest litigation. This is a very we must speak about this. So public interest litigation is the it is a litigation for the protection of the public interest. Here maybe here is also a misuse of a right to information act RTI and PAL. Also there is a many cases that court given warnings to the persons in case of that's not suitable to the up to the mark. So why we have to be keep it in our minds. Public interest litigation means it's a litigation filed in a court of the uh, protection of a public interest, which includes pollution, environment, and terrorism related, and safety. These are some examples. In case if our focus of the point is should be all these, we can. So while the PIL is being filed, the various areas, which includes violation of basic human rights of the poor, content or conduct of a government policy scheme, violation of religious rights, or a violation of fundamental rights or any basic rights, then we have to be file a PIL. The Article 21 of the Constitution guarantees the citizens in the country the right of life, which integrates all the rights of a people, and when an violation are taking place in the interest of all citizens in the country. Ah,